I'm happy to have with us today author Rabbi Suzanne Brody. She is the Director of Education and Youth Programming at Temple Beth El in Ithaca, New York. She is a graduate of Wellesley College, has a PhD in neuroscience, received rabbinic ordination from the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies in Los Angeles, California in 2012. Throughout all of the stages in her life's journey, Rabbi Brody's passion for innovating new ways to share a love of learning about and doing Judaism has found outlets in creating dynamic programming for Jews of all ages. She has worked in both formal and informal educational settings and has designed and taught numerous adult education courses with an emphasis on the stories of infertility found in the Jewish tradition and the treasures she finds in the pages of the Talmud. So now I'm happy to ask Rabbi Brody to read to us from her, I think her latest publication from Silver Bow Publishing, which is Unearthed. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Unearthed actually goes back before all of those lovely things that you listed. All of the poems in this collection actually were written between the time that I was in middle school and the end of college. I will say that I noticed a big shift around 9th grade from the things that were truly awful to having a number of very good things. And I attribute that to having a wonderful 9th grade English teacher. His name was Mr. Harris. And this book, Unearthed, is dedicated to him. Also to my children who are now as old as I was when I wrote these. So going through with my children to select them was quite a rare treat.
Suzanne, can I just ask that you maybe hold the book up one more time and just hold it there for a minute so viewers can see it? Lovely. Thank you.
Tribute in memory of Mr. Harris. He taught Simplify. His gruff voice dissected books. He spoke dry humor, concealed softness. A taskmaster, he made us strive for perfection, rewarded us with puck missiles and inverted checks. He animated words, gave us the gift of literature and a 10-cent pen, lined paper, and a voice of our own. With flannel shirts and stockinged feet, he perched on flimsy desks, ruled the class, and won my loving respect.
Very nice.
This one is Night Rider. In a pitch black room, an open window funnels a silver beam. Piercing the darkness, it illuminates a piece of paper. Swiftly, silently scratching, a pen moves across the page. Shadow for a face bent over a single ray, capturing a moment forever. Nothing else stirs as a figure rises, leaving an offering to a moonbeam. When I was in high school, I got to participate in a couple of different foreign exchange experiences, both being the host and being the one hosted. And that is what inspired this one. Uneven exchange. Have you not learned yet the power of words, the way in which they work to build or break, and yours have done the latter? You tell me what I do is not meant for a lady, and my bag weighted with books you melt with a scornful eye, even knowing this is the world I built for myself. You scorn the energies I pour into battered texts and the memorizing of words that were yours from birth in a language where not even the alphabet is something I can claim as my own without effort. You say I can never hope to understand the world you're from, yet I forgive the trusted opinions you've offered me. In your sorrow at being far from home in an alien country, my arms are there to comfort you, and I take away from my time to fill yours. Across the darkness, I share my thoughts, listening to the stories of your heart. Still you refuse to call me friend. But when I run from the room, I do it to protect you from the hurt that boils inside me, threatening to explode. Of course, not everything that I wrote while I was in high school deals with such deep feelings. This next one was actually inspired by a little bit of a dare. Someone told me that they thought I could not write a poem about this. And I'm going to read the poem first, and then in case you haven't figured out what it's about, I will share that after. Ode. Perfect half moons falling from the sky onto a bed of tissue cloud at a clip of thunder. Hands shorn of protective daggers, toes defeated by metal jaws ominously snipping. Rain drips onto the scattered crescents of epidermis which lie in waste, forever parted from the nurturing being that gave them life. And you can't see, my daughter is sitting here smiling and laughing because she knows that this is an ode to fingernail clippings.
That's hilarious. Thank you.
This one was actually an assignment for Mr. Harris's class. And I liked the way the words sounded together and found it very amusing that some people have found more meaning in it than what was written to start with. Nursery nonsense. Blue and green of winter dawn, standing in a snow cake. I am winter, you are dawn. Our baby is a little boy, riding on a dragon's wings, catching clouds and chasing rabbits through a dandelion briar. Purple and pink of summer snow that lights on noses and melts on tongues. Finding the kitten's lost mittens. Cold air blows in, around, and under a mossy cottage in hidden dell beneath a lion's paw. We float in foam upon the moon until the book is closed, stopping the snail on its way to work. I am dawn and you are winter. Our baby is a little girl who hugs you close to kiss goodnight. This next one I thought would be appropriate to read right now because we are in this season of the year again. Graduation season. It's ice cream weather, the sunny green coaxing thoughts between the panes of frost to an imperceptible stirring. But for me, it's flood season, as salty rivers control me, overflow for invisible reasons, hide from restless sandals, anxious to chase frisbees. In these t-shirt days, I'm collecting flimsy stuffing moments to fill a teddy bear, to assail the approaching days, blasting cold air, pumping it through the aorta, killing the flowers, coloring the lawn. Nostalgia. Remember when there were good guys and bad guys, and the good guys always won somehow? How we were never tired, even when we yawned at 9 o'clock, and 9 o'clock was late at night? The stories we made up before we really knew what printed letters said, when we had time to laugh and play and color, and a fight was over as soon as it began. Now the bad guys often win. 9 o'clock is afternoon. We are buried under books and paper, and grudges last forever. The adults had all the answers. Now we discover there are only questions.
I'm delighted in the way that you have a poet's eye as well as a poet's ear. So what I mean by that is that you see in events and the world around you the probability of poems. So you make poems from the things that surround you. When did you first realize you were a poet? I know you talked about somebody telling you that you couldn't be a poet. Can you want to talk a little bit about that?
So I started really writing a lot of poetry in 6th grade. And I had a unit on haiku, and I fell in love with the form of haiku. And my father had just gotten new business cards, and he gave me an entire box of his old business cards that were blank on the back. And I wrote a haiku on the back of every one of those business cards.
Oh my.
And they got saved along with many other things at my parents' house. But when I took them out as part of the unearthing of all of these things that turned into this book, I discovered they were really bad. So there are no haikus in this book.
At the same time, I think that's where poets start, right? I do think
Yes.
poets start from a place of naivety, and just and that's a good thing. You just take what your heart and your soul gives you and you put it on paper. So that's lovely. That's a great story. Thank you so much. Okay, so do you want to read a few more poems?
I would be happy to. I did not put a bookmark in this one, but I have my biggest cheerleader sitting here saying I should do the one about camp.
Okay.
Because we are heading off to summer camp soon. And this actually got published in my camp's newspaper. And I don't remember feeling quite this strongly, but it very much captures what my daughter feels. It's kind of nice to have that moment of connection with this. Camp. Returning, so it seems, as if we never left. A sense of belonging, of being home, pervades the air as we wait in line again to keep the lights out. Everyone is older with more stories and memories to share, yet it's all the same, even if different people share my bunk. I have come back to my second home for the last memorable time. And as we start thinking about summer, another hot morning. Ice cream mixes with sweat on the dirt of toddlers' palms. Parents cower under umbrellas of green leafy branches. Children's legs melt into slides, and the ice cream man is the king of the castle. A frustrated gardener makes futile attempts to revive dead grass, while on the peeling porch, two gray-haired ladies rock before a fan, recalling worse heat waves, but no one listens anymore. Another one in honor of Mr. Harris. The tears come only after numbness has dulled the vacuum of an empty spot here. I see his toe peering out from a sock, freed from a shoe of convention. A flannel shirt masks gravelly voice, discussing grammar or literature, and a friendly harassment of a slow learner. He made the mouse an eggshell, and me the voice of Holden, opened my eyes to plays and forced me to achieve. He will always be in the spirit of my pen. I'm going to do another one specifically for my daughter because she loves quotes, and her room is filled with quotes all over the walls. So unfamiliar quotes. Reaching out, they grab me, mutant meanings of familiar quotes, distorted messages speaking just to me in a riddle only I can interpret. Shivers run my spine as rivulets wet my face. Comforting words heard so often, now twisted and tangled into near menacing shape. Class dreams. Behind the clicks and scratches of marks pressed into lines to externalize memory, the fading buzz of a teacher gives way to impossible snapshots of perfect familial harmony and a tangle of arms warmly tanned in the sun of roses in May. The noises of tilting chairs writing returns the gaze to the interminable present and the black wand that takes lifetimes to point to the next number. When I was in high school, I worked in the Children's Museum, and we rotated through all the different exhibits, and one of them was called Play Space. Play space entertainment. I am the Pied Piper luring with balls of dancing color that float from my magic wand, holding spellbound the children clustered near, eager to follow my potion of soap and water, the raindrop pearls that burst with joy on outstretched fingertips. And I did sometimes write things that were not about me at all, came from other sources, such as this one. Breakfast in Newtonville. A hasty muffin sheds a trail along crusted jeans and ripped books stuffed with wrinkled grades, the frustrated works of a genius undiscovered. Uncombed hair ties knots beneath a once white baseball cap as last night's dirt is scrubbed away and the lukewarm coffee chases away the taste of sleep and beer. Muffin bits fall to the tiled floor as cup and napkin are thrown. 3 points, a glum reminder of younger days in a yellow kitchen and rainbow classroom. The tired bag hiked upon a shoulder, the burden of another day begins as dusty boots trudge their way to school.
What I wanted to really talk to you about was your voice. I think every poet develops their own voice, and I certainly hear in you your distinct voice. Your poetry is full of, first of all, visuals as well as sound, but there's also a very deep warmth in everything that you write. Is that something that you worked toward, or is it something more natural, do you think?
I would say more on the side of natural, but I do think that in high school taking classes, that I did have to rewrite things for class sometimes. I very often don't rewrite things now, although I do like writing on paper. And so when I transfer from paper to the computer, sometimes I'll make small changes, but I tend to, certain phrases will sort of stick and they'll keep coming to mind until I can figure out where they fit and how they come out.
Yeah, and certainly I noticed there was a line in one of the poems you read in this part of the reading, marks pressed on into lines. That really struck me as being a beautifully visual way that poets create their words and their verses and their entire poems, right? They start out with just little marks, and I that gave me goosebumps when you read that line.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. What keeps you writing poetry? Because I know that you continue to write.
I have learned to make myself sometimes write about particular topics, or sort of set challenges for myself, but also a lot of it comes from when I'm learning or in conversation with other people, that things will sort of stick and they'll come out. I don't think I've been to any conference, no matter what the subject is, that doesn't wind up with some poem from it at some point. Right. And it's how I process my feelings too. So.
Yeah, I get that. So poetry can come to you from the outside in, but the actual writing of it comes from the inside out. It seems to me that the way that you process what you see and what you hear and how it impacts you kind of emotionally is what you put on paper.
That's a very good way of describing it.
Oh,
yes.
Lovely. Yeah. No, I get that from the way that you write and the way that you read, is that this is a very personal process. Although you write about many things, it's really, you're really putting yourself on the paper in various ways.
I think even when it's about a specific text that I've read,
yes.
It's about my interpretation of it, and it's not just regurgitating what the other person had said.
Yes, yeah. That's great. That's lovely. I mean, really, that's what poetry is about. And all writing really is about our own sense of what it is we're reading. Yeah, or what it is that's impacting us. Would you like to read one more poem before we close? Have you got? Here we go.
All right. Capturing the moment.
Mm.
Paint a picture with words to adorn a cake ablaze with the flames of years gone by. Color the voices bright so they can be heard whispering without a hearing aid. Scent it with cosmetics sprinkled with the dust of age and clothing fighting mothballs. Dress the heroine in faded skirts hidden by an apron, topped with a hat and embraced by a sweater. Draw the telephone busy, caught in a web of details, while the car sits patiently, waiting to creep on errands. Paint a picture with words, but don't forget to wrap it with a kiss.
Perfect. What a beautiful poem to end on. That's gorgeous. The one line that sticks out for me in that poem was ablaze with flames of years gone by or past, right? That is so visual and visceral, right? Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll let you get back to your New York day with your daughter and your family. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.